Hey guys, so today I want to do another character analysis video from The Wire. The other day I did Stringer Bell. Today I'm going to do an analysis on Avon Barksdale, um, who was the head of the Barksdale organization, which was the main villainous, stable, I guess you could say, the villainous drug stable from the first three seasons of The Wire. And Avon's a really interesting character. I think the dynamic between Avon and Stringer is very interesting, right? Because they both grew up together in the streets, and while we talked about how Stringer, he had the vision of, eventually transitioning into the legitimate business world. Avon was, he was a street guy, man. He was the classic. He had the classic street mentality, and he was very much the opposite of Stringer, as to where it's fun. His demise came from his street mentality and his unwillingness to kind of let the game go. So you look at, and we'll start with the early seasons of, or the first season, I guess, of The Wire. When things are starting out, Avon and Stringer, they own the West Side. The West Side goes through the Barksdale organization. They're still very much, I would say, at their peak in season one in terms of the strength of their unit. And Avon, unlike Stringer, I think Stringer will talk down to some of the gangsters, some of the guys within his organization. I think part of that comes from his own insecurities of being associated with them. We talk about Stringer, to where he feels like he's above it all. But Avon is very. I feel like he has more respect amongst his crew than a guy like Stringer. Probably for the sole reason of, number one, his crew identifies with Avon much more, far more, because Avon embraces his street mentality. He embraces the streets. And then number two, he just kind of treats his soldiers better. He's always treated his soldiers better than Stringer. He doesn't talk down to them. He can get in somebody's face for sure, but if you're about it, he's going to treat you with respect. And he's a somewhat empathetic guy, in terms of he understands. And I think the empathetic side of him shows with Cuddy, right? Cuddy, a gangster who served 14 years and came out, and he, not gotten his face, but told Avon straight up that the game wasn't for him anymore. And Avon let him walk. Avon let him walk, and he even, after that, pitched in, I think, $15,000 towards helping Cuddy build up a boxing gym for the youth. So Avon definitely had respect for his soldiers, and I think that respect obviously was reciprocated for him. His group, they're all willing to take charges for him, and it was very much like a brotherhood. So getting out of season one, where he ends up going to prison for a year, I think 2 years. He had a 7-year sentence, and he got out after 2, due to some, pulling of the strings from behind the scenes, of course. And once he got out, this is kind of a very interesting twist for the Avon character for me. Stringer, while Avon was in jail, Stringer had kind of transitioned the Barksdale organization closer to a legitimate organization. And he was trying to bring Avon on board and trying to get him to, in my opinion, Stringer was trying to get Avon to fully transition the Barksdale organization to be fully legitimate, so they don't have to worry about the gangster stuff anymore. But Avon just couldn't let it go. He really just could not let that lifestyle go. When he found out that Marlowe was taking all of his corners while Stringer was, focusing on transitioning the organization, Avon and a lot of Wire, enthusiasts will kind of joke, Avon, quote unquote, got to have my corners, Barksdale. And it stems from this. I mean, he's willing to throw away all of this, all of his success, all of his wealth. And mind you, he's on parole at this point, so he should be very careful with all this stuff, but he's not. because he can't let Marlo win the war. He's got to hold on to his streets because at the end of the day, the streets are his identity, and he's very well aware of this. So Avon, I mean, he's willing to sacrifice, all the wealth, all of his, money, his status. All I should say he's willing to sacrifice all this wealth, and his standing to hold on to his corners, to hold on to the street, to keep to remain the kingpin in the street. Because at the end of the day, for Avon, that was more important to him, being the kingpin of the streets, than being a successful businessman like Stringer. And I think that's where their disconnect really showed in the later parts of season 3, and it's why they both turned on each other. At the end of the day, I don't know. Like I just you look at the partnership between Stringer and Avon, and they both complemented each other so well for so long. But the differences between them that actually worked in their benefit for so long was what kind of tore them apart at the end of the day. So, obviously, Avon's character at the end, he got caught with, he got caught with a bunch of weapons. He got caught right before he was going to hit a big, raid on Marlowe's gang, and he got arrested. And at the end of the series, he's back in prison. So, Avon, he had a chance to get away from the life, and he didn't take it. He didn't take it, and it ended up being his downfall. And with Stringer, I mean, Stringer fought so hard to get away from that life, and his downfall was all of the things that he did in that life. Because at the end of the day, it all caught up to him right as he was about to get everything he wanted. So. That's my analysis on Avon. I talk a little more about Stringer here. Again, both of these characters, very well written. We need more characters like this on TV nowadays. I'll just say that. But that's all for me today. Thank you guys for listening to this video. And I'm going to keep doing character analysis from The Wire as well as some other shows. I'm going to venture into Game of Thrones characters. There's a lot of characters there, but hope you guys enjoyed this Avon Barksdale character analysis.